So my name is Mark Lurie. I'm the founder and CEO of Codex Protocol. To give you a little personal background, I'm from the US. I previously founded and sold a venture-backed online marketplace for fine art and collectibles. So I've been in the art and collectibles space for a while. And before that, I worked in venture capital, making startup investments, and did an MBA from Harvard.
Okay, and can you tell me what Codex does?
Sure. So Codex is a blockchain-based title registry for the art and collectibles market. So that includes fine art, fine wine, collectible cars, jewelry, and watches. And unlike every other major asset class, and this is about a $2 trillion asset class, there's no way to prove your ownership, and there's no way to track ownership. There's no title registry. And that's really important because it makes it really easy to do a lot of things like transact and insure and loan. So what we're doing is we're bringing provenance onto the blockchain. That's the history of ownership and transmission of the item. And it's the main factor in determining authenticity and thus value of fine art and collectibles. And so with our title registry, you'll be able to know something's authentic and you'll be able to prove it's yours.
So, sorry, that seems like a really major flaw in the trading of these items. How was it done before?
It's very hard. The way it's done before is you have the item and you maybe have paper receipts, maybe you don't, and each time it's transacted you have to do a lot of research and diligence. And that's a big reason why today in the art and collectibles market commissions are 40% plus. It's hard to get loans, it's hard to know if something's authentic, and it's really hard to resell an item and prove that it's authentic. And so what we're doing is we brought together an industry consortium of auction houses and software providers to the auction industry who are all coming together and agreeing we have to change this, we have to create a title registry. And so on day one will be adopted by a big portion of the market.
So how do you go back and create that provenance? I mean, what are your validating factors? Because it seems like this is only going to work from now onwards.
That's true, but most items go through auction at some point in their life, and the way authenticity is determined now is you say, oh, what auction house or what dealer was it purchased from? We'll trust the good ones, and we won't trust the bad auction houses. And so we're going to load 10 million items a year or more, or at least up to that, from our auction houses onto the registry. So starting now, those will have good provenance, and people will be able to make their judgments around whether it's authentic.
So essentially you have to start from the status quo, yes. But for the future, we have to start somewhere.
That's right.
Right, got it, okay.
And then we have one application that we're building on top of it. This is the first application, and there will be many applications. And this is called Biddable. And Biddable makes it possible to bid anonymously at all those auction houses and pay with cryptocurrency so that people with crypto can purchase art and collectibles. And anyone can bid more easily than they can now, which is actually surprisingly complicated. And so Biddable will make it easy for people around the world to invest in art and collectibles.
So can you explain to me why it's complicated now and how this will make it better?
Sure. So today, in order to bid in an auction, you have to apply a couple weeks ahead. You may have to send bank statements proving your net worth. And even then, the auction house may not let you bid because they need to know that if you bid and win, you'll pay. They lose about 10% of their revenue to people who bid and win but never pay. And so particularly people in Asia can't bid in Western auctions because Western auctions can't read Mandarin bank statements. And so that's a major problem for the industry. And so we're creating our first application is a title escrow application so that you can make a cryptocurrency deposit and be instantly approved to bid in an auction. And that makes it much easier for the bidder and gives confidence to the auction house that you'll pay.
So do you have any competitors?
This is actually a really big problem and a very obvious problem in art and collectibles. Lots of people have thought about it before, and many people have tried. The reason it hasn't been done in the past is because no one wants to register all their art and collectibles and jewelry with a central authority. With a blockchain, they can prove their ownership without disclosing their identity to any central authority. So there are multiple people who have tried, but the problem is how do you get adoption? How do you make a title registry the standard? And we have a consortium of a large portion of the auction market that's pre-agreed to use the Codex title registry, which is why we know we're going to be successful. But the idea itself is actually quite obvious if you're in the space.
So there aren't other people trying to do this using a blockchain?
But none of them have contractual agreements and partnerships with all of the major auction houses such that will actually become the standard.
Right, so you've got all the agreements in place. What stage are you at in terms of launching, going live, everything starting to work?
So we announced last week that we're doing the project. We've had a lot of good reception. We won first place in a 40 company competition, and we'll be launching later this year in all of those auction houses. And we're under development today.
And so where's the roadmap from there? Once you launch in the auction houses, what are you looking to do next?
So we'll launch with those auction houses, and we'll do a lot of marketing to get a lot of new bidders involved and bidding and using Biddable. And all those items will get registered on the title registry. And then what we'll do is we'll go do partnerships with other stakeholders in the art and collectibles market, whether it's art shipping, whether it's insurers, asset-backed lenders, dealers, galleries, artists who might want royalty rights on their pieces, and we'll encourage them to build applications, and we'll help them build applications so that we have a kind of big ecosystem all using this title registry and cementing it more and more as the standard and solving all of those problems in the art and collectibles market.